Hey all, I just wanted to have a quick show and tell to introduce our Porifera unit. Porifera is the phylum of sponges. Woo! So just a quick little show and tell. If you guys were here in the classroom, I would have passed these around and gone over some the features of these sponges. Believe it or not, these are living animals. One of the most basic or simplified marine invertebrates in the ocean. Sponges are filter feeders. They have all of these holes, these little porous holes that you're going to learn about. The smaller holes, these are in current, which means water goes into these holes. There's specialized cells in those little pores and holes that transfer nutrients and food throughout the sponge. The larger holes, which we'll talk about in more detail, is where water exits and any waste material exits the sponge. This is a sponge that's made out of calcium carbonate. Its spicules are like these little bone or skeletal fragments. Skeletal, I say that loosely, fragments that help give it its shape. We'll talk about all of that in more detail in our lecture, but here is a calcium carbonate sponge. Here's a rope sponge, this little critter here. Rope sponge, also calcium carbonate spicules, also a living organism. You can see it has some larger holes here. Those larger holes are the excurrent siphons where wastewater exits, and all the smaller ones is where water and nutrients and food come in. This is a little Demospongia. Or a demo sponge. Again, a calcium carbonate sponge, large holes, water exits. All the tiny holes are where water and nutrients enter. Probably one of my favorite sponges here is the glass sponge. This is a living organism literally made of glass. This is silica. Its spicules, its little bone features are glass spicula. If I shake this, you hear that clanking around. I'm going to try, it's kind of hard to see, but if you can sort of see in there some remnants of some kind of skeletal remain, those are actually leftover exoskeletons of these organisms called snow pea crabs. And it's sort of a morbid tale, but these, when snow pea crabs are in their larval stage, a male and a female will occupy one of these sponges, and they mate for life. They grow to a size where they become trapped inside of this sponge. They can never leave, but they procreate. They release their little baby snow pea crab gametes out into the ocean through these holes here. And it's a pretty interesting symbiotic relationship. The sponge offers protection from predators, and the little food particles that these crabs eat, what's left over, gets absorbed in by the sponge. So it's kind of a win-win situation. This is, again, called a glass sponge. So those are a few cool sponges that I have here in the classroom. Hopefully when we're all meeting together in person, I can show you some other cool organisms as we continue on with our invertebrate zoology unit. All right, guys, see you in a bit.